So Apple just updated the MacBook Air with the new M4 chip and a new beautiful color, sky blue. So what do you get in the box? Well, probably the same thing as last year and the year before, but let's take a look. I'm personally hoping for blue Apple stickers, but if they follow the same trend as the M4 iPad Pro and the iPhone 16s, we probably won't find any stickers in the box at all. But let's have a look. Over here, I have the base 15-inch configuration with a 256GB and 16GB of RAM, which, by the way, as of late last year, is standard in all MacBooks and Macs sold by Apple. So fortunately, no more 8GB RAM Macs at all. This unit retails for $11.99 in the US and about 1,500 euros in Europe. First, we have the MacBook itself, which is wrapped in this frosted paper-like wrap. But for now, we'll just set the device aside for a second while we have a look at the included accessories. We have the envelope with designed by Apple in California, and of course, no included stickers or sticker. And underneath that, we have the dual 35-watt charger and the MagSafe 3 cable, which is color-coded to the MacBook. Great attention to detail by Apple. And finally, we have the device itself, which is wrapped in this frosted paper. As you might know, we haven't had any plastic in Apple's packaging for over 3 years now. And wow, take a look at this. It's unbelievable how a 15-inch MacBook can be this thin and elegant at only 11.5 millimeters thick. The screen is 15.3 inches in diagonal with a resolution of 2880 by 1864 pixels at a PPI of 224, which is good for a laptop, but slightly below the 254 PPI of the MacBook Pro 14 and 16 inch. The Liquid Retina display, as Apple calls it, is a relatively simple LED backlit display without the mini LED technology that we find in the MacBook Pros. Because of this, the maximum brightness only goes up to about 500 nits, as opposed to the MacBook Pro's 1600 nits. It also lacks the ProMotion technology of the MacBook Pro, having only 60Hz instead of the adaptive 120Hz screen. But for your average user, the screen is fantastic. It has great color reproduction, good enough maximum brightness, and unless you're a high refresh rate fanatic like myself, you'll definitely enjoy the screen. When I think about a 15 or 16 inch MacBook, I always assume it's super thick, like this 14 inch MacBook Pro at over 15 millimeters thick. But no, this is an Air after all, and you can definitely tell. It is wider and taller than my 14-inch MacBook Pro, but much, much thinner. Let's talk performance. The MacBook Air uses the M4 chip, which was introduced last year in May in an iPad of all things. It was the 2024 M4 iPad Pro, but this specific iPad only has a 9-core CPU, since it is the base model, while the 15-inch MacBook Air uses the full 10-core CPU. When it comes to synthetic benchmarks, so Geekbench 6 in this case, the three devices score very similarly. The chip has fantastic burst performance, given that it has one of the, if not the fastest CPU kernels in the world, scoring over 3500 in single-core Geekbench, even faster than some of Intel's latest offerings. When it comes to graphics, the M4 chip inside the 13-inch MacBook Air is the only one that comes with an 8-core GPU, as opposed to the 10-core GPU in these other devices, but honestly, it really shouldn't matter since it only has a 60Hz screen. But if you go with the 15-inch MacBook Air, you will automatically get the upgraded graphics, so 10-core GPU. The SSD is comprised of two 128 chips, similar to M1 and M3 devices, and unlike the M2 MacBooks, which only had a single 256GB chip. Why would this matter, you might ask? Well, by having two chips, you almost double the storage speed, so the base M2 MacBooks only got about 1500 megabytes a second, which is quite slow, compared to the M1, M3, and M4 devices that have over 3000 megabytes read and write speeds. Also increased the base RAM capacity to 16GB since last year in autumn, when they replaced the base model 8GB in the M2 and M3 MacBook Airs with 16GB. All of this while keeping the same price, which is a rare move by Apple. But let's be real, selling a laptop for over $1,000 in 2024 with 8 gigs is just absurd. The speakers are also fantastic on this 15-inch MacBook Air. Not as good as the speakers on the 14-inch MacBook Pro, but honestly not far off. And they sound much better than the 13-inch MacBook Air and much better than the 11-inch iPad Pro, of course. Have a listen for yourself. And just for a bit of fun, I've pulled my old MacBook Airs, so here's a quick size comparison between the original 2010 MacBook Air 11-inch, 13-inch, and of course the new 15-inch. Size-wise, it is not that much larger compared to the 13-inch, but the screen is noticeably larger due to the smaller bezels. And of course, it is much faster than these older machines, while looking much more modern. There's no comparison between them, honestly, but there shouldn't be because these are 10 to 15 years apart. Although I'll be honest, I do miss the lit up Apple logo on the back. It looked so classy. When it comes to charging, I personally use this 67-watt charger from Anker, not sponsored by the way, as it is much smaller than the Apple charger and much faster than the included dual 35-watt charger. It takes about 2 or so hours for a full charge, which isn't bad considering the 18+ hour battery life. Let's talk value. At $11.99 or about €14.99 here in Europe, this laptop offers fantastic value for money. I'd highly recommend it to everyone, even to professionals. Sure, it doesn't have the sustained performance of the Pro, given that it has no fans to cool it down, but it really shouldn't matter for most people. To sum up, I highly recommend this MacBook. It's a fantastic machine. If you want more real estate than a 13-inch MacBook Air has to offer, but you don't want to spend crazy money on a 16-inch MacBook Pro, then this is it. An elegant, sleek MacBook that will be fantastic for anyone for years to come. And unless you're bothered by the 60Hz refresh rate, which I'm sure the target audience won't care about, simply get this. I know for a fact that I might be switching over for my 14-inch MacBook Pro. Thank you for watching, and I hope that I'll see you back on my channel pretty soon.